Today's Japanese slang term is gueee死んだンゴ, which is just a kind of funny online way of saying that you or something else is dead. It can be somewhat literal, as in this person here noting that they imagined some fish that died in the live tank of a fishmonger shop were probably saying gueee死んだンゴas they died. But it can also be kind of more metaphorical, as in just like this person who's using it to say that they're hammered. Or when you lose a video game, such as this person here, or, from what I can tell among the rhythm game community, when you don't get all perfects, as in this example here. But while this phrase is very, very simple on paper to discuss, it has a kind of a long and interesting history, so let's talk about where it comes from and why it is what it is. So if you look up this term on basically any Japanese website, etc., the first things they'll tell you is that it originated sometime around 2015 and came from the 2chan subforum Nanje, which is ostensibly focused on baseball, but has a long history of language play and general internet memery, etc. It's a bit of a silly place. These descriptions also say that it derived from interactions on this forum where people would use it in response to internet threats. Like if someone says, hey, I'm going to kill you, you'd reply with gueee死んだンゴ to be like, I'm dead, and obviously imply that the person couldn't actually do anything to you. But since 2chan deletes its post, I can't actually show you one of these like real interactions, but I can confirm that Google Trends shows interest in gueee死んだンゴ from 2015. Ignore the spike in 2025, we'll get there. And the earliest hits that I can find on Twitter are indeed in 2015. And one of these at the bottom is a reply to somebody who's saying, hey, weren't you scared? And the person was replying with, I'm dead. So it does seem to fit into that kind of interaction pattern that was discussed earlier. And while I can't show you uses from Nanje in 2015, the link to Nanje is pretty clear by 2015 for a few reasons. One is that in late 2015, you can find a lot of people posting memes, etc. And like in the bottom one there, those little food things look like the Nanje mascot. And there's also ASCII art online of the Nanje mascot saying this phrase. Even more importantly, though, is that while the gueee at the beginning is just like kind of a death rattle, like a bleh, I'm dead kind of thing, the ngo there is also itself part of wordplay that is linked very, very tightly to Nanje. This form of play dates back to 2008, when the baseball player, again, remember, it's ostensibly a baseball forum, Domingo Guzman was up as pitcher and did a really bad job to the extent that he basically lost his team the game. So, members of this forum who were watching the game started typing Domingo's name, Domingo in Japanese, right, WWW at the end, to laugh at his poor performance. This probably would have ended there if not for the very next game of that team, just 2 days later. Domingo's teammate Hisashi Ogura also did an extremely bad job as pitcher, resulting in these netizens making fun of him by changing his name from Ogura to Ogungo, right, combining the ngo from Domingo with Ogura, and then adding WWW at the end. From this, ngo developed first initially as a way to kind of just mock mistakes and failures, oftentimes your own. For instance, in these uses from 2011, you can see somebody using it to note their failure to make a reservation at a flower store, a mistake in math, and then just a kanji or kanji conversion error on their phone. But quite quickly though, ngo also just developed as like a thing that you say for no real reason except that you don't touch grass enough. Like here in 2012, you can see somebody that just is noting that there's a long line to the park. That's not their own failure, but it is a gyoretsu ngo. And the person underneath that is just saying that they're going to do preparation for their lesson and review ngo. And eventually all this got so popular that in 2017, ngo was listed as one of the top buzz terms by young girls, as in like high school age girls in Japan. Number 3, in fact. So while gueee死んだンゴ is just kind of a silly online way of saying I'm dead, it itself not only is part of Nanje wordplay, it is kind of carrying the torch or the banner for other historic forms of wordplay that have long existed on that forum. But what about that 2025 bump there at the end? Well, in late 2025, this term exploded on the Japanese internet, and it was for a reason that honestly is very, very sad, but also very funny in kind of a heartwarming way. And it's going to be a little difficult, but I'm going to try to do my best to maintain this balance of humor and seriousness as I explain what happened, because this boom starts with the sad part, which is that in 2025, a young Japanese college student named Nakayama Kanaru found out that they had a very aggressive form of cancer. Throughout this year, they posted various updates on their trips to the hospital and the status of their cancer on Twitter, and unfortunately things got worse and worse and worse. And then eventually on October 10th of 2025, Nakayama posted that they were probably going to die soon. A few days later, on October 13th, somebody stating that they were a friend of Nakayama's came onto the account and noted to the internet, who had been following Nakayama's story and account quite closely, that Nakayama had unfortunately passed away, but that they were going to leave the account open as kind of a memorial to this person. And that's normally where the story would end, except on October 14th, Nakayama's account made one more post, and that post was gueee死んだンゴ. Basically, what people think happened is that Nakayama, knowing that they had very little time left in their life, scheduled a Twitter post that would use this phrase to notify the internet that they were dead. This went extremely viral, getting over 960,000 likes and 362 million views. It became national news, appearing on websites like Yahoo and the NHK, and it spawned a really heartwarming amount of people donating to the Japan Cancer Foundation. With a lot of people finding this obviously very sad, but also kind of charming and funny because it shows a lot of heart to be facing death's door and thinking, the last thing I want to do though, before I pass away, is tell the internet that I'm dead via a silly meme phrase. What this post also did though, is of course out Nakayama as a user of Nanje, or at least someone who is kind of familiar with internet slang from that area of the internet. And as a result, a lot of memorial posts to this, such as this one here, express their condolences to Nakayama via the odd phrase, Jōbutsu shite kuremensu. Jōbutsu here literally means like to become a Buddha, to attain enlightenment, but is used as kind of like rest in peace. The shite kuremensu though is also a form of Nanje play. You can see an example here in this person noting how Nakayama inspired them to give blood for the first time, but it also appears in the most popular comments to Nakayama's original post. This shite kuremensu thing is used online as either shite kureru or shite kudasai, so like please do for me, and is related to the baseball player, again, a baseball forum, Roger Clemens, with forms like ouen shite kuremensu, which you can see here being used since at least 2010, and indeed even jōbutsu shite kuremensu has been used before this entire 2025 thing, as in the picture of the dead fish that you're looking at from 2020. And so while obviously jōbutsu shite kuremensu would be a really inappropriate thing to say when somebody dies in almost any other context, people found it to be quite fitting within the vibe of what's going on here, with this post noting that it feels like, quote, a national funeral being held by all of the people that live in the sea of the internet. And so, while gueee死んだンゴ is just a silly way of saying I'm dead, it has become kind of a heartwarming story in a way. As while Nakayama's story is tragic, he clearly showed himself to be someone with humor and heart, and that resulted in an outpouring of funds and support for cancer research in Japan, and therefore, of course, hopefully work towards a cure for cancer for everyone around the world. So while normally I end these videos with just kind of a silly little joke that tries to tie everything together, for this one I'd like to note that while it would obviously have been very nice to participate in this sort of donation fest while it was happening, as people often say, well, the best time to do something may be in the past, the second best time is now. And so when I found out about this story when I was doing research for this video, I decided to donate 5,000 yen to the Japan Foundation for Cancer Research in memory of Nakayama Kanaru. It was really easy. They have an English website that you can go and you can donate in English. You do not need a Japanese address or credit card or phone number or anything like that. And so I would encourage you, if you just have some spare money lying around, to do the same, celebrating the humor and good nature that this young man took with him to the grave, in the hopes that we can prevent other people from going through the same.